Ron Poliquin here, Delaware Attorney, Employment Attorney, DoverLawOffice.com. I've gotten a lot of questions regarding the medical marijuana card holders and their rights as far as employment rights, and whether or not they can be terminated or whether or not they can have any kind of adverse effects by holding a medical marijuana card. Well, Title 16-4905 is called the Delaware Medical Marijuana Act, that made it legal for by doctor prescription that if you got a medical marijuana card, you could use medical marijuana. And part of that statute says actually deals with employment rights, meaning your rights as an employee as it relates to medical marijuana. Can you have a medical marijuana card and be terminated for that reason? And the answer that we have from the statute is no. You cannot be discriminated against because you are a medical marijuana card holder in the state of Delaware. Because under the statute it says unless a failure to do so would cause the employer to lose a monetary or licensing, related benefit under federal law or federal regulations, an employer, your boss, may not discriminate against a person in hiring, termination, or any term or condition of the employment. That would include pay raises, that could include promotions, that could include terms and conditions of employment are pretty broad. That includes size of your office, job titles, or otherwise penalize a person if the discrimination is based on the following: A, the person's status as a card holder, or B, a registered qualifying patient's positive drug test for medical marijuana components or metabolites unless the patient used, possessed, or was impaired on the premises of the place of employment during the hours of employment. These are not specific but very broad protections, meaning like basically if I was an employer or an employee, I would look at it as like, obviously you can't, alcohol is legal in this country, but you can't come to work drunk. You can't be impaired. If you come to work high, acting like Cheech in Chong or something like that, then you can be terminated. But just for the mere fact that you have a positive test, and this happens a lot in pre-employment drug screenings, where marijuana obviously stays in your system a lot longer than other drugs. So just because marijuana is part of a test, if you test positive for a drug screening, pre-employment drug screening, doesn't mean you can be terminated. That's how I read it. Okay? And based on my interactions with a lot of employers, you can, basically with my interaction with a lot of employers, they read it broadly as well. There is no safety exception, meaning there's no exception for construction companies or anything. The only exception being if it involves a monetary or licensing related benefit under federal law or federal regulations. A lot of times that a common way to look at it is if a construction contract involves federal monies. I've seen that occur. What are terms and conditions of employment? Denial of employment compensation or benefits, denial of disability leave, maternity leave, termination, loss of shifts or less desirable shift, suggestion of a preferred candidate on a job advertisement, denial of use of company facilities or benefits, favoritism. Basically, you can't favor somebody that doesn't have a medical marijuana card, exclusion of candidates from hiring process. There has been no cases to my recollection in Delaware where an employee has sued based on this statute, the medical marijuana rights statute. But I'm confident that if you were not hired because of a drug screening where you were tested positive for marijuana and you had a valid medical marijuana card, that you have a good case, my friend. And therefore, I would recommend you get a good employment attorney. So that the answer is the medical marijuana rights statute protects employment rights, your employment rights, if you hold a medical marijuana card. Okay? That's Ron Poliquin for DoverLawOffices.com. Send me your questions or come see me for consultation if you want to learn more about employment law.